They started dragging me towards a tree, got me pinned down, and started pounding on my body. It was you could feel the anger and the intent to try to hurt me.
Get a noose. Those are the words that Vox Booker says that he heard a group of white men yell as they attacked him over the 4th of July weekend near Bloomington, Indiana. Booker, who is a member of his county's Human Rights Commission, calls it an attempted lynching. He says the group accused him and a friend of trespassing on private property, which he denies, before beating him and yelling other racial slurs. Booker credits a group of bystanders who intervened with saving his life. They also began filming the incident. Take a look.
Let him go, dude. Let him go. Let him go. Please, let him go. Please let him go. We're going to as soon as you let him go. I'm going to.
Gotta get the out of here.
Let him go.
Get your phones out of here and go.
Let him
Shake
go.
your head at me
Let him
and
go.
Get the out of here. Go.
Indiana authorities say that they are investigating. Bloomington Mayor John Hamilton released a statement saying that the incident exemplifies the persistence of racism and bias in our country and our own community, deserving nothing less than our collective condemnation. And Mayor John Hamilton joins me now. And Mayor Hamilton, you actually know Vox Booker. How long have you known him?
Hi, I've known Vox for 5 years at least, I think.
And when this happened, the thing I think for a lot of people, somebody sent me the Facebook post that he created, and it was alarming to watch it happen. And watching the hostility that you saw by those men attacking somebody who is a upstanding member of the community, it surprised me that nobody was arrested. Do you understand why there were no arrests here?
I think that's a very good question, why there were no arrests. One of the questions we would ask is if the races had been reversed in this situation, and a large group of African Americans had beaten the only white in a whole area around them, what would have happened? I can say at this point we are committed to make sure that the justice system works. I've been in touch with the federal system and the local system, and while I may differ on what should have happened that night, we want to make sure that justice is done for Mr. Booker. It's critically important.
Right. And so hopefully there is an opportunity that there may be some arrests, because had they succeeded and had these witnesses not been there, he could have been lynched right there in the woods, no?
I tell you, I watched the video. It was heart-wrenching and scary, terrifying just to watch the video. So absolutely, we do not know what would have happened if the friends, witnesses, those who stood with him had not been there. It's frightening to think about.
There was a rally on Monday in support of Mr. Booker. And one of the things that happened at that rally is that somebody hit one of the ralliers with a car, drove into some of the demonstrators, which is a thing that we've seen the racist far right do. We saw it happen in Charlottesville, Virginia. Has anybody been arrested in that incident? There you can see the person who was hit, one of the woman who was hit being taken to the hospital. Have there been any arrests in that incident?
You know, it's a small city. I knew the woman who was hit as well. No, there has not been an arrest made. We are very actively pursuing with the information that we have, and I expect we will apprehend that person and proceed appropriately with them. It was a scary night, and I'm glad no one was worse hurt, and we're going to take every action we should to hold them responsible for what they did.
Yeah. We know that, every place has a history, and we're not trying to characterize everything about Bloomington, but I mean, Bloomington does have a history that includes very active Klan membership in the 1920s and in the 1960s. At a certain point, a pretty high percentage, about 23.8% of all native-born white men in Monroe County, not far from Bloomington, were in the Klan as of 1920. And so there has been a lot of that kind of racist activity there, between the 1920s and the 1960s. Those people that were racist and that were Klansmen have kids, and those kids are walking around here. Do you have a problem in Bloomington with open racism, Klan membership, that kind of thing?
Well, look, Bloomington's 200 years old, and for most of that history, like most cities in America, we were legally racist. We had racist laws. We have structural racism still present in our community. We're a very progressive liberal college town now, but absolutely those legacies still exist. We have very aggressive reporting of bias incidents. We have bias incidents every year of people reaching out and doing the wrong thing. And it's really important. You know, the COVID virus you talked about has hit a lot of us. We have a social virus of racism that has been around for centuries, and it's still here.
There's also some policing issues. There's a Black Bloomington man who was stopped last week by the police while walking in his own neighborhood. There's a lot that's going on. Are you looking at your police department as well?
Well, let me be clear. That was done not by my police department, by a neighboring sheriff's department, as was the decision on arresting at the lake was not by my police department. But the point is this: absolutely every police department and every law enforcement agency in the country, we ought to be asking questions. We believe very strongly in transparency and accountability and training and all those things. But everyone should be asking questions about all our law enforcement to make sure we get better.
Well, thank you so much for just being so open about all of that. Really appreciate your time tonight. Bloomington, Indiana Mayor John Hamilton, thank you so much. And we'll be right back.